right, so the week 2 of the NFL has wrapped up, and a lot of stuff obviously has happened in football with everything that's going on with upset victories and surprising teams. But before we get into our NFL segment, a little recap of the week for me. We have gotten into the best season of weather-wise. It is not so hot anymore, at least in Dallas. It is a little bit more bearable. It's windy.
My God. Yeah. Yep.
It's like fresh in the mornings now, so it's not 1,000 degrees. So I'm excited about that. I've been wearing a lot more like shorts and my Crocs, and yes, I'm a Croc wearer now.
Thongs.
So it's thongs too. Yeah. So I
Do you
wear
put the
all
pen?
that and
Do you
flashy.
put the pins in the Crocs?
No, I don't do that. They're just basic. They're basic.
Okay.
I promise.
I have to draw the line somewhere. If you put the pins in the Crocs, I can't do this anymore.
No.
I can't do it.
No, I don't do the pins, but I do wear my Crocs, and I wear them proudly. I do not wear them out though. I just wear them in the house and around the house. I don't go out with my Crocs.
So proudly then. If you wear them proudly,
not so proudly.
Yeah. Store.
Yeah, not so proudly because it's still a little bit weird for me to see people in Crocs when you go out in public. That's just strange. I mean, same thing for like sandals. Like it's just weird. But yeah, so it's a lot better weather now, so it's more manageable. I enjoy that. I need to go out and find a fishing spot here in Dallas. I still haven't found one that I want to check out for sure. There's a couple lakes and stuff that I want to hit, but I haven't had the opportunity to go check out. I need to do that. And that's pretty much my week recap, I think. Yeah, we had family over. We went to Medieval Times in Dallas with my daughter. It was her first time. Yeah, it was my daughter's first time, and it was my second time. Yeah, it's fun, man. I love it. I love all that medieval stuff and all that horses and jousting and all that. So it was cool. I was worried that my daughter wasn't going to have a good time because she is like super young and like scared of mostly everything. But she enjoyed it. Yeah. She was having a blast. It's cool because they feed you like back in the day, like a king. Like they don't give you silverware. You know, it's like you eat with your hands.
They give you a fucking turkey leg.
Yeah, and they give you a half a chicken, a potato, a corn. They call it dragon's blood, but it's just tomato soup. They give you all of that, and it's just like an old school way of eating. And the chicken, for it coming out for over 100 people, it is very moist. I'm not gonna lie, and for the people that don't like the word moist, sorry, but I had to use it. Yeah, it's really good. Oof. And we had a good time there. And then we went to a different spot in Grand Prairie, Texas that opened up. It's like like in the Bellagio, they do like a water show with like a light and shit. It's like that over here, but they have like holograms being projected in the water. So it's pretty cool to see in Grand Prairie, Texas. So definitely check that out if you guys ever get a chance to come out here.
Interesting.
And yeah, that was pretty much it. My week. That's my weekend recap for this one. What about you, Domo?
Was the dragon's blood like you were talking about y'all had, and you said it was like tomato soup or whatever? But are you sure it wasn't tapatio, just like just all over the place?
Yeah, it probably was, dude.
My weekend. My weekend was good. Last week I worked all week, just like we all do. Saturday, we went fishing up in Lake Livingston, where the dam is, where it meets the Trinity River. Now, we fished there several times. I've mentioned it before. This time we got there like extra early. The guys I went with, let's get there early. Let's leave early. And okay. And they don't open. The marina doesn't open until 6. It's where you get the pass. I mean, technically you could go down there and fish, but like if somebody rolls up or a cop or whatever rolls up, you don't have the pass, you can get in trouble, right? So we got there like super early. We've never been there this early. And we had to wait like for a while. We had to wait for a while to go down there and fish. It wasn't a big deal, but it was so early that when we got down there and we had the pass and everything, we still couldn't see shit. So like we had our lights and we're prepared. And it helped out. The sun did come up shortly after. It was a really good day of fishing. It sucked that we didn't catch anything. All the gar took our bait and was going with it, and then they just dropped it. We didn't catch anything. One of my friends, he set the hook on one, ended up losing it as it came to the shore. It thrashed around because they're crazy game fish. But yeah, we fished all day that day, drank a bunch of beer. It was a good time. Had a lot of fun, even though we didn't catch anything. But and then Sunday we went to church in the morning. Came home, just watched NFL all day, hung out with the baby. And then yesterday, I was off yesterday. It was my 3-day weekend. We took the baby out of the crib. We got him a twin size bed now. So I built that and put that all in. He loves it. He loves it. That's about it. Just fishing one day, didn't catch nothing. It was still a great day. And then after that, it was just football and hanging out, and then work today. So
Yeah, we're with your baby and stuff transitioning to the bed now. So he's able to get into it himself now. It's not high or anything like that.
Yeah. No, it's like ground level. It has a gate, and he opens up the gate and he runs in there and shuts the gate and plays or passes out or does whatever. does whatever.
Yeah,
I'll send you the video. He loves it. He has a great time, and he'll be 2 in January. So I'm kind of, I don't know if it's like normal to go to a bed before 2 or if he should still be in the crib. But I feel like,
I feel like it's a good time
like,
for it. Yeah, like he should be all right. I mean, I don't think, especially if it's like to the floor. You know what I mean? Like it's on the ground already. Like he's not gonna fall off of it.
It's like floor level. It's like it's one step for him to get into it. Like I said, it's I'll text it to you. It's enclosed, but it's got a gate, and he can open it and shut it. And he loves it. He goes crazy. Like he wants to play in there. He wants to sleep in there. He wants to like just go nuts. So
yeah. So I mean, I feel like that's good. Right now with G, we're doing potty training. So the only time she doesn't wear a diaper is overnight. I mean, she wears a diaper overnight. But throughout the day, she's pretty much potty trained about 95% of it.
Going? We haven't even started that, and from what I understand, and I could be completely wrong, just like you, it's your first kid. Just like me, it's my first kid. But from what I understand, like boys, like they start potty training later, I think. So like he's not ready for potty training for like another year or something. Every baby's different, but like that's what I understand is like boys are like 2 years old, 3 years old, they start or something.
It's going pretty good because my mother-in-law is obviously helping us with that. So they say that the key to it is just consistency. Like you got to make sure like the kid, as soon as they wake up, you put them into their, I mean, you take the diaper off and then you just tell them, all right, just let us know when you need to pee or you need to poop. And then
you stand them in the toilet, like don't even let them sit. Just like put their feet in the water, like you're gonna pee, you're gonna poop, you're gonna do it right here.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it's going pretty good though. She's about, I would say about 90 to 95%. Like even if we're out at the grocery store, she'll tell you, and then you just gotta find a toilet. Yeah, and then you just gotta find a toilet.
Wow.
And then that's just kind of like let her use it. It's great because if you get them trained, like the sooner the better, because diapers are expensive. So like I'm ready for that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even know what that's like. Like I almost forgot how to use the restroom in a sense. Like I almost would just piss myself like laying in bed or something. Because my baby does it. So Deanna can clean me up too, I guess. But like
yeah, for real. Oh man.
From what I understand, boys usually do it later.
Yeah,
every baby's different, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense.
My first one,
that's, exactly. That's, for you and like for both of us, it's our first one, so we're just kind of winging it, and whatever works, you know. And so I'm grateful for my mother-in-law for being consistent with the potty training, and she hasn't had an accident in the day in the last 2 weeks. So it's pretty good now. So it's pretty good. It's just overnight she has to wear a diaper because she's not gonna wake you up and be like, "Hey, I need to pee," you know. So
and during the day she's not wearing diapers. It's just underwear. Like during
it's just underwear. And then at first we would tell her like, "Hey, just let us know. Like, remember you're not wearing a diaper." And then now she just doesn't even. We don't even have to tell her that. She just tells you right away, like, "Hey, I need to go pee." And then we just take her to the restroom and then she uses it.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see, especially
that's awesome.
At a young age.
Awesome.
You know? Yeah, I feel like that was our biggest milestone.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then with the babies growing up, obviously, I'm trying to get her to follow more. I'm not trying to push it down her throat, but like follow sports with me. But she's just not there yet. And I'm just like, damn. Like I really want to just sit down, watch sports with you, but she's not there yet. So eventually she'll get there. I'm looking for like a gymnastics class for her.
Well, I was gonna say, and understand maybe that's not her thing, so maybe she won't get there. You know what I mean? And I've thought about that same thing with my baby. Like I want him. You know, he's had some snacks the other day watching the Green Bay game, week 1, and it was a good week, obviously, because Green Bay won. But I have a video where he's just like sitting next to me, like chomping on his chips, and he's like watching the game, and I pan to the TV, and he's just watching. But at the same time, I think in my head, like, you know what? Maybe he and 10, 15 years, maybe he doesn't like this shit and he likes something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is cool.
And you can't blame them, you know?
Correct. So it's like, if he doesn't want to watch the game, I don't force him to sit there with me. You know what I mean? That day he wanted to sit there and watch it. He likes watching golf. That's cool. But I don't ever make him do it because I don't, you know what I mean? Like as a father and a parent, like if he doesn't want to watch sports or he's not into sports, then fuck it. You know, like whatever he wants to do.
You know what's crazier to me though is like you buy, like for us at least, like my daughter watches like Miss Rachel. Shout out to Miss Rachel because that shit is like the
Miss
best
Rachel,
thing ever. So she'll watch like Miss Rachel and stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. And then so the TV will have that, and I have to watch the games on my phone. And my wife's always like, "Man, like that's parent life, you know. Like you pay for a 65-inch TV, but you're watching Miss Rachel on YouTube rather than watching the game." And I'm like, "Yeah,
it is what it is." You're watching the game on your phone, and your wife's like, "Hey, he's about to fall off the couch." What? And like, you gotta go catch him. Like,
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. But yeah, I mean, it's good to be seeing them grow up so fast because I can't believe your son's already going to be 2, so that's kind of crazy for me.
Yeah, 2 in January. He's almost 2. There. It's crazy, and he's not. I said he's not in the crib anymore. It's nuts. Yeah, it's crazy.
But I mean, we'll see how we do as parents, right? Further down the line and see how they go. But yeah, so we got a lot of football this weekend from Thursday night, and I think it is a good time to get into it. So let's get into our football.
That was blasted in my headphones.
Yeah, it was pretty loud. It it was loud. Sorry for the headphone listeners. It's probably going to be extremely loud. Our audio guy is obviously off today, so I'm in charge of it. So if the audio sounds like crap, then it's on me. But yeah, let's get into week 2. Actually, before we get into week 2, Domo, you have our recap of our picks from last week. So let's start off with our last week's picks. Which was Chris, Domo, and I. We did make our choices last week for the games, and I think only one of us won last week, which was Chris, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll go from you want to do first to last or last to first?
Last to first.
It doesn't last to first. Doesn't matter. Okay, then that means I'm going to go first. I went 0-3. Okay, so second place was I had the Bengals, Packers, Lions. They all fucking lost. God damn it. Packers, we'll get into that. Lions, damn it. Okay, so Misa had the Eagles, Raiders, Jets. He went 1-2. Eagles won, Raiders, Jets lost.
Damn it.
Yeah, that's about it there. And then Chris, he won that week. He went 2-1. Unfortunately, like me, he had the Packers, so he lost. That's his only loss. The Bucks won and the Niners won. The Niners are 2-0. I don't think that's anything surprising. So taking the Niners, that's going to be a win. So there you go. Yeah. First place for the week, Chris. Second, Misa, and then last place was myself.
You sound so proud saying that out loud. Last week was for myself.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Domo, you have a redemption this week.
I was last place. I mean, like, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, this week though, week 2, obviously it started off Thursday night with the Vikings and Eagles. Well, you know what's funny though is I picked Philly to win in our pick'em, but in the pick'em that I'm doing on the side, I did pick Minnesota, just to kind of see. But Minnesota is 0-2 now. And Philly is 2-0. Obviously, Philly coming off that Super Bowl high that they had last year. It doesn't seem like they are stopping anytime soon. I'm not sure exactly what their schedule looks like day to day, but from the looks of it, they are looking extremely solid still. Jalen Hurts does not look like he wants to stop anytime soon. And it looks like he wants to take that NFC side again and take it back to the Super Bowl. Which I don't know about you, but Jalen Hurts, I like Jalen Hurts. I'm not dogging him at all. I just feel like I don't see him as, I'm not going to say an elite quarterback, because to be an elite quarterback, you have to be throwing up some numbers, right? But Jalen Hurts is a multi-weapon quarterback, in my opinion, because he's got the agility to move, and he's obviously got the arm strength. It's just going to come down to his clutchness, in my opinion. But Philly did have a shit ton of receiving yards from just Devontae Smith, had 131 receiving yards. He was targeted 5 times, 4 receptions completed. His longest was 63 yards. And Jalen Hurts had a 193 passing yards, it looks like. So, and he had a passer rating of 98. So he still went pretty good. He had 1 TD, 1 interception, 4 sacks. But Jalen Hurts is not stopping, and it looks like the Eagles are just trying to push this train through. Now, Domo, from your side, do you think that they can make it to the Super Bowl? Obviously, early prediction, but do you think that they can make it deep into the playoffs the way they're playing now?
Yes, and I think maybe an early take, but I think the Cowboys are a lot of hype right now. And they're the same division. That's why I bring the Cowboys up. But yes, I do think the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he's a playmaker, and the Eagles, they have a good defense. They're going to be good. They have been good for several years now. And I bring up the Cowboys in the sense of, I think the Cowboys, they're a lot of hype, and they're, like I said, they're in the same division. But the first game they won 40-0. It was mainly it was all defense and special teams. Offense really didn't do shit. This last week they won again. So did the Eagles, but they won again, and most of their points were from field goals. I think the kicker had like 5 or 6 field goals. So I think as the weeks go on, I think the division is for the Eagles taking, and I think yes, like the Eagles will be in the playoffs and they're going to win this division dominantly, and that's my take.
Now, what about on the opposite end of the team that they just played with, the Vikings? Are they going to make a turnaround and go push deep? Because they were also a playoff contender last year, obviously.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. Well, yes, but the Vikings have been struggling for a couple of years. Obviously, I pay attention to the NFC North just because of the Green Bay Packers and stuff, but the Vikings, the last couple of years, I'd say at least 3 years, they've been struggling, and it's only gotten worse and worse. And I know it's still the beginning of the season; it's no 1-2 start, but they're not looking good at all.
It's time for them to get rid of Kirk Cousins, right?
That's what everybody's been hearing, and social media and all that stuff, is that Kirk Cousins is going somewhere else. I can't remember where I saw earlier. It wasn't the Jets. It was I can't remember what team. It was supposedly shipping him out to a different team for a bunch of picks and trades and all that stuff. But the Vikings, yes, they've been a good team, but the last 2-3 years they've not. They've gotten worse and worse. And I know it's only week 2 and they're 0-2, but man, it's not looking good for them.
Like, the thing is that they have one of the best receivers in the league with Justin Jefferson, and it sucks to see such a good, talented player, young player at that, kind of not be at his full potential because he doesn't have the QB to throw. And I like Kirk Cousins. I just don't think that he's the it's time for Minnesota to move on from Kirk Cousins era.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, and if you look at Kirk Cousins, like, he was never great, right? I mean, he was never like, oh my God, this guy's good, he's reliable. Then a couple seasons went by and he ended up at the Vikings, and he had a good run there for a couple seasons where he was like dependable, but he still kind of blew it in the playoffs, or blew it like when it counted, but he was still dependable. And then now it's the other side of it where he's still with the Vikings, and now it's like you can't even count on that. Is what I guess that's what I'm trying to say. My point earlier was that, like, he's never been like solid, and his solid years were with the Vikings, but that was several years ago, and now it's on the decline again.
Yeah, and I just think, like, obviously with Kirk Cousins' situation of primetime, Kirk Cousins has never really won any games. I think his record now is like 2-15 or some shit like that, 2-11 on primetime games. And it's like, dude, like, you can't have that record because your team is trying to make a name for themselves. They were in the playoffs last year. They want to make the Super Bowl. The city of Minnesota is in dire need of a winning season. You know what I mean? And then you have a young receiver with Justin Jefferson. I mean, they had one of the top running backs with Dalvin Cook before, and then obviously he's gone now. And it's just like all this talent that wants to go play for Minnesota, but it's like with Kirk Cousins behind center, it's not going to be the fit for you. They need to find a solid QB to build around. You know what I mean? And it may be letting him go and like Green Bay does. We'll get into Green Bay's game, but like Green Bay does, they build through the draft, like you say. So maybe it's time for something like that. It's just time to get rid of Kirk Cousins and time to move on and give that city and give that team a potential Super Bowl run. Because Minnesota before used to be super respected, and I'm saying before many moons ago when Randy Moss was there,
You mean
Dante
Dante
Culpepper.
Culpepper?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like when that era was
Adrian
around.
Peterson.
Yeah, so it's just that they were respected enough back then. But that team wants to go back to that high-powered team, but it's not going to be it with Kirk Cousins. But it is only week 2. It's 0-2, still a lot of room to make up. You can go undefeated moving on out from here, but I mean the odds of that happening for Minnesota very slim in my opinion. I don't think that they'll go undefeated.
Yeah.
There's going to be some hurdles for sure that they got to win. But yeah, the Eagles are 2-0 now. Vikings 0-2. The next game that we want to get into, because it was a Sunday kickoff game, is Domo's Packers and Falcons game. Domo, you want to take the lead on this one?
Tinga Sumada. Yeah, man. Like, God damn it. So, Banda. So, yeah, the Packers, man. Week 1, they look good. They look good week 2. The problem is they had the lead and they had it. It wasn't a 3-point game towards the end. I mean, after halftime, I forget the score, but they had a couple touchdown lead. And Green Bay's offense, they had some injured players, Aaron Jones, David Bakhtiari. Defensive-wise, they had some injured players. I get it, but they had the lead and they choked. It basically is what happened. And then I don't know, maybe you can pull it up, maybe you can't, I don't know. But if y'all saw Jordan Love, it was going to be a quarterback sneak is what it looked like. But he moves his right foot back to signal motion, but he puts his foot like way back, like super far back, to where he loses his balance and falls over to the right and takes a step forward. He ends up falling into the center, which is like a false start, basically. The Atlanta defense is going nuts. And if you look at the offensive line, they look back at Jordan Love like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? He literally just fell on him. Like, literally just put his foot back and fell on him. But Jordan Love had a good game. Besides that, he had a good game. 3 touchdowns. I don't remember his yards. No interceptions. I think he's tied for first with touchdowns so far this year. It's only week 2, but man, Green Bay, like week 1, I was impressed, and week 2, I'm not impressed in the sense of like they had the lead by a couple scores and then lost the game in the final. I think it was like 45 seconds, something like that. They lost by a field goal, but or as 25-24, they lost to a field goal. But what I'm saying is, like, from week 1 to week 2, it's like, man, there's like mistakes there that are bad. And defensively, they had people that were injured, but Bijan Robinson from UT just got drafted. He had 170 something yards. He ran all over Green Bay. So it's almost like the defensive coordinator, man, what are you doing? Like, you got the superstar running back coming in. Granted, he's a rookie, but I mean, in the first half, he's putting up numbers. You got to defend that. And if you no, don't worry about him, and all of a sudden he just keeps running the numbers up, it's like, what the fuck? As a Packer fan, what the fuck?
Yeah, so I mean, to kind of bounce off how you were saying, like Green Bay, so they scored the score at half was 10-9, and in the third quarter, Green Bay scored 14 points, and the Falcons only scored a field goal. And then in the fourth quarter, Green Bay didn't score at all, and the Falcons scored 13 points, which obviously caused that comeback at that point. And Jordan Love's yards were 151 yards, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions. His rating was 113. Mm-hmm. So like you said, he had a great game. Like that's a great game to have. Yeah.
That one penalty where he fell over and all that stuff, that was a mental mistake. It was definitely a quarterback sneak. I think he just kind of overlapped, like signal motion, but his body was like, okay, run it. You know what I mean? But he didn't have the ball in his hands. You know, that's why the center was like, what the hell was that? But that's why I say that. And then Green Bay, like you said, in the third quarter, they scored 14. I think if you said right, they were up by 2 scores. You just got to play defense at that point. And I mean, obviously the offense got to keep going, but I mean, 2 scores, you still got another quarter to go. And then they lost it. Green Bay had the game. The first half was a little bit of a struggle, but in the third they looked good. Green Bay had the game, and they choked it away. They choked it.
They lost to themselves is what it kind of comes down to. It's just that they lost to themselves, and like you said, with a running back, and I guess you could say a star running back because he's a rookie, but he put some numbers up. and the defense should have adjusted to that.
In an NFL game, 170 yards. That's a lot of yards.
Exactly, and the defense should have adjusted to that. Yeah, so like he definitely made an impact. The defense didn't adjust correctly to it, and it shows with the final score because that's a weird score to lose literally by a field goal, 25-24. Green Bay now 1-1, and Atlanta now is 2-0. Which Atlanta being 2-0 is kind of a strange thing to see too. But I know that Green Bay, even though they, like you said, they kind of like fell apart towards the end. In my opinion, they still look like a potential good team because they, with Jordan Love finally under center, controlling this season pretty much, he's putting up good numbers. Like I don't see anything wrong with that performance that he had this time. Besides, like you said, that little play where he kind of like stumbled upon himself. That's just a mental mistake.
Other than that, he had a great game. He had a great game. That's a good game. Like week 1, he had a great game. Yeah.
And then honestly, like the Green Bay Packers are obviously going through some injuries and stuff, but I mean, it looks like they should be able to bounce back rather quickly. I don't see really a major issue coming from them. I mean, hopefully they do because it would be cool to see.
Yeah. Oh, sorry to interrupt. Both games that they did just play, they're 1-1. Both those games are on the road. So this next game will be at home, but they're playing the New Orleans Saints, who are, if I remember right, 2-0. So they're kind of on a little run here. With David Bakhtiari being out, Aaron Jones being out, and all the other injuries that may have accumulated, it's hard for me to say that every team is beat up right now because it's week 3. You know what I mean? If it's week 15, everybody's beat up. Going to the playoffs, I get it. But we're in week 3, and you got your starting left tackle, your starting running back. Like, there's defensive players that are out. It's just like I don't know. And for Green Bay, like I said, week 1, I was like, holy shit, that was actually kind of shocked and a little bit like, man, I didn't think it would go that well. And then week 2, it struggled first half. Third quarter, I was like, oh, here we go. Well, damn, they're looking good. And then they just stalled. And next thing you know, here comes Atlanta. You know, they had a good third quarter. That's what we saw week 1, and then they just stalled out. And there goes Atlanta.
You think that they kind of wore themselves out up to that third quarter ending, and they were just like, all right, like we've put enough points, take off the gas, and then kind of.
I don't think it's that. I think you got to think it wasn't just Aaron Rodgers that left the team. Alan Lazard, you got a bunch of players that left, and I know Randall Cobb, that's a name, but he's an older guy. I get it, but that's just offensively. There's a defensive players that have left the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I think I brought this up last week, if I remember right, and I could be wrong, but what this year is so Matt LaFleur is there, right? And Aaron Rodgers was there. Just like Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy, or Matt LaFleur, or whatever coach you put in front of him, with the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers has a big say-so on how that offense runs. So with Matt LaFleur coming in, they did really well. I think they went 13-3 the first 2 years, both. So you got 26 wins and 6 losses. I mean, that's a really good record. Granted, no Super Bowls and all that stuff, but with Aaron Rodgers being there, you have the coach who's an offensive-minded coach calling the plays or depicting what's going on. And you have Aaron Rodgers, who's the quarterback, and he ultimately has the say. Like, if I get, just like Peyton Manning, if I get under the pocket, or Tom Brady, and I see something, I'm changing the play no matter what you want to run. Whereas right now, you have Jordan Love, and it's Matt LaFleur saying, this is how we're going to do things. And Jordan Love is saying, yes, sir, si jefe. This is how we're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, in a sense, because Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, just like if it was Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. The head coach has a say, but ultimately there's a balance there. Whereas right now you got Jordan Love and he's under center, and Matt LaFleur is saying, this is what we're doing and this is how we're calling the plays and this is what you're going to do. And he's saying, yes, that's how I'm going to do it. So like I said, week 1 to week 2, I was impressed. Week 1, week 2, up until the end of the third quarter, I was like, okay, here we go. We're good to go. And then next thing you know, it was like, we lost by 1 point, win, that kind of thing. And some of it's on the defense. Some of it's on the offense. But at the same time, when you had that lead, you gave it up. So I can't really say Green Bay should have had it, is what I'm saying. That they were up by 2 scores. Like, they should have had it.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have closed that game out and taken that win for sure.
Protect the lead.
Yeah, protect the lead, because really that's all you had to do at that point. There's not, because you were already up by, I think it was a margin of like 14. So you really all had,
like that,
or 13. So you really had to just protect the lead, do not allow any points, force turnovers, or run the clock out when you get it back on offense.
I was going to bring this up, and sorry, I think it was in the first half. I can't remember. Matt LaFleur decided not to go for a 56-yard field goal because he said it was too long for his kicker. But in the preseason, his kicker hit a 57-yard field goal, like no problem, boom. So there's that too. That could have been another 3 points. Not saying, oh, that's why we lost, but the coach saying, and he came out and said no because that's too long for the kicker.
But
that
you can justify that is why you lost if you think about it, because you lost by a point.
Yes.
So technically, you could be like, well, we should have taken the risk of that extra long field goal.
You're right. You're right.
Because you lost by a single digit point. You know what I mean? And so Matt LaFleur not saying, and like you said, because who knows how the rest of the game would have turned out if that field goal would have gone in or not. But if they make that field goal, then they would still win the game. If the score stayed the same, right? As if the Falcons ended up with 25 and Green Bay ended up with 27, Green Bay wins the game.
If you miss it, you have the momentum changing. And the other point is, I'm just remembering right now. The other thing is this is a indoor stadium. When that kicker made the 57-yarder, that was an outdoor stadium. I can't remember what team they were playing, but it seems like Matt LaFleur should have gone for the field goal. And I say that that's not the reason why they lost. And you bring up a good point that maybe that is the reason why they lost, because if they would have made it, there's still the 50-50 shot. And if he missed it, then there goes momentum. You know what I mean? And maybe in the third quarter, they didn't have a 13-point lead. Maybe it's a 10-point lead. Granted, they still lost. I get that. But for me, like the head coach saying, no, it's too far for our kicker. But in preseason, an open arena, nailed a 57-yarder. Here it is in a closed arena. And he's like, no, it's too far for him. Where's the confidence at? Which I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. I haven't seen anything like on social media. Not that I'm like the guy, but like I haven't seen anything on social media where it's like the kicker's like, oh, the coach doesn't have faith in me. I haven't seen none of that, but I forgot about that. That I did see that the other day that like Matt LaFleur was like it was too far for him, but it was like indoor stadium and everything like that, so it didn't make any sense.
I mean, I honestly at that point I take the risk.
I'm not the coach of the Green Bay Packers, so I agree. Yeah. I agree, but it's easy to do when you're sitting on the couch as opposed to being on the sidelines in the game. Real. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to say, "Oh, I would have caught that" when you're eating a bag of potato chips. So
a bag of cheese curds, because it's Green Bay.
Cheese curds or whatever, whatever. Yeah. It's in Milwaukee's best. I mean,
I still think that Green Bay is going to be an underdog this year for most of their games because they are restructuring in a sense with everybody, and then the injuries early on kind of sucks. Have they given any update on Jones coming back? Is he expected back next week, or is that 2 weeks away, or have they said anything? I
haven't seen yet. I haven't seen, and honestly, like being a big Packer fan that I am, I didn't even realize until like halfway through the game that David Bakhtiari's not in. But at the same time, it's not a surprise. The guy, he's one of the best left tackles in the league, but he cannot stay healthy for one fucking game. And he signed this huge deal, and he deserves it. He's a great left tackle. Ask Aaron Rodgers. Like, yeah, that guy saved my life a million times. But God damn it, he can't stay healthy more than 2 games. And then he's out a game. Then he's back in for 2. Then he's out for 3. Then he's back in for 1. It's
Yeah. I mean, health for Bakhtiari is definitely is big. So, but I mean, we'll see what they do with the Saints. Saints are undefeated next week, so or this coming weekend. So we'll see what they do with the Packers.
It should be a good one. Should be a good one. I would think. Should be a good one.
I would hope so. Right. But so with the Green Bay Packers, obviously that was a unfortunate end of the game right there. 25-24. Falcons move on to 2-0. And it looks like with Green Bay one-on-one playing at home, I think is going to be a big thing for this weekend coming up. I think that's going to be a big momentum boost for the guys, for everybody in the locker room. Is going to be excited to play in Lambeau, obviously iconic stadium. Fan base is great, so I'm excited to see what they do against the Saints. The next game that I do want to touch on is the 49ers and the Rams, because they played at South Levi, if you can call it that, because they played at the Rams Stadium, and that Rams Stadium was more packed with Niner fans than I've ever seen. It was a Red Sea. The Niners did take that win 30-23, putting them 2-0 this year, and the Rams at 1-1. Christian McCaffrey had a ball of a game, and he's going to continue to have a game an impact in every game that he's in. He ran 116 yards, 1 touchdown, and Brock Purdy had a QB rating of 93.1. No touchdowns thrown, 0 interceptions, but the defense did help out, and obviously the running game, because Brock Purdy did have a rushing TD, and so did Deebo Samuel. And Deebo on the run is just as deadly as he is receiving. So it's a big win-win situation for San Fran, with having Christian McCaffrey behind Brock Purdy, and also having Deebo Samuel able to do those jet options to run that TD in. I think that Christian McCaffrey is going to get a massive deal whenever his contract is up, because people have seen that if you just put him in the right scheme, it's going to work for him. Obviously, in Carolina, it wasn't vibing towards the end. He went to Kyle Shanahan, and he has balled out since. He is that face right now in the San Fran organization, in my opinion. I think a lot of people are looking for Christian McCaffrey as a leader. Not taking away from George Kittle, because George Kittle was still the face of that. But I did enjoy seeing them beating the Rams, because it is a rival team, if you want to call it that. But the Rams haven't had a regular season win against San Fran in like 13 games, I think is what the stat said. So I'm excited to see what they do. San Fran plays on Thursday, though, this week. So they do play the Giants at home. It's their first home game this year at the original Levi Stadium, not South Levi. But yeah, did you catch any of that game, Domo, on the Rams and the 49ers, or just any highlights that you saw?
I saw a little bit of highlights. When it comes to the Niners, obviously they're stacked up. They're ready to go. I will say week 1 they played Pittsburgh. It was in Pittsburgh, if I remember right. They beat them, and everybody was losing their minds. Like, here come the Niners, here come the Niners. It was fucking Pittsburgh. Okay, Pittsburgh is not that great. Sixburgh. But I'm not trying to take away from the Niners. I guess saying that I am, but like, they are a great team. They're really good. They beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh ain't shit. They haven't been shit for a little while. You're playing the Rams now. The Rams they're like mediocre. They were really good, and I feel like they're kind of on the downfall. But yeah, they're just kind of like, they win, they lose, they win, they lose. So, I do believe in the Niners. They're a great team. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, Bosa. I mean, it's crazy. Like, they're a very, very, very good team. I just feel like they haven't, and it's only week 2 again, but I feel like they haven't played a good team yet.
And as a 49ers fan,
when they do play a good team, we'll see what happens. It's just like college football and stuff. You know, you have the weeks. And I don't blame the 49er fans for, like, they're hyping everything up and they're going absolutely crazy. I'm sure their Instagram page and all stuff is going nuts, rightfully so. They're 2-0. You know what I mean? So in college, you win the game, you lose the game, whatever. It's all about points and everything like that. In the NFL, a win's a win, a loss is a loss. Your record is you are what your record says you are. And right now, the Niners are 2-0. So you got to respect that. They're undefeated. I just feel like they haven't played anybody real yet. And I think they do play somebody real. I think it's going to test them, but I would still take the Niners over that team, whoever it may be. I feel like they need to be tested first before everybody's just like, Niners, you know, bang, bang, Niner gang.
I agree with you, because they have played a lighter schedule, and I think the first, and I say this quote unquote, the test was going to be the Rams, because the Rams, you know, are a rival team, but they aren't built like the 49ers are built, in my opinion. So I think I already kind of went into that one knowing that they would take that win. And again, this week on Thursday, they play the Giants at home. That should be a cakewalk for them too. So I agree with you. Like, they haven't been tested yet. So and as a 49er fan, I agree, like, that it hasn't shown enough yet. It's not until we get to the deeper side of the season where the big games come up, the Eagles, the Cowboys. Week 4, I think, is the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken. So or week 5, some shit like that. It's week 5 is the Cowboys, yeah. So either way, that's going to be the first initial test, the big test, because the Cowboys are also hot right now. But then again, the Cowboys have been playing some weak ass teams too. So, in my opinion, so I think that the 49ers, I agree with you. Like, I'm not taking anything away from what you said, because they haven't been tested just yet, because both teams that they played are either in the restructure phase or kind of can go either way, but it's not really a potential threat in the deep playoff push. So I agree with that part of it. I'm excited to see them 2-0, of course, but it's not foreseeing that a Super Bowl win automatically, especially with the start of the season. It's just 2 games into it, and then we play the Giants on Thursday, so that's like easy.
Yeah, and like I said, the Niners are built. You know what I mean? So like whoever they do play, that is a test. Like whatever the top team is in 10 weeks, I would probably take the Niners over that team. Obviously, there's momentum and stuff like that, but the Niners are going to be in the playoffs, barring something bad to happen. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just the hype. Like we talked about the hype. I just think it's like too early. And there's other teams that it's just too early. Like Baltimore, if I remember right, they're 2-0. And it's like it's kind of too early, man. You haven't really played anybody great to like. But then again, all we can talk about is 2 weeks because it's only week 2. So
that's all we have. So I agree.
Feelings, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that the Rams was I think that the Niners should have put up some passing TDs, and I said the same thing with Lamar Jackson last week, that Lamar Jackson should be throwing the TD passes. Brock Purdy looks like he's trying to throw these deep bombs, and sometimes you don't need to throw deep bombs. Just throw a 15-yard slant for a touchdown and let it happen. You know what I mean? So obviously, there's fine tuning that needs to happen with Brock Purdy's first official season as a starter.
Yeah.
So I do think that it shouldn't have been as close.
Did you listen to Pardon My Take this week, or I guess yesterday, when they did the fastest 2 minutes about Brock Purdy?
No, I didn't listen to it. Not this week. No, I haven't listened to it yet.
I forget. I can't remember if it was Big Cat, but you know how they do the wah, wah? They're all doing the announcer. They called him cock dirty. Cock dirty.
Oh,
that is God, I just started listening to Pardon My Take like I don't know 3 weeks ago or whatever, and I don't listen to every day, but like mainly Mondays. And the fastest 2 minutes, that's hilarious, dude. Like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Raiders. It's so hilarious. I love it.
I love
Cock dirty.
That's a good nickname. Yeah, I'm gonna put that on a shirt. So with the 49ers and the Rams, obviously 49ers play the Giants this week on Thursday. It'll be a Thursday night game. And I think that the Rams, if I'm not mistaken, are playing the Bengals on Monday night. They're going to Cincinnati and playing them over there. Bengals are obviously struggling too. They are 0-2 right now. Currently, they played the Ravens this week. But just to bring everybody back up to speed, Domo did say this last week. I think last year that they started 0-2. They still made the playoffs. They have started 0-2 this year. They still have the potential to make the playoffs. Well, like we said, this is just only week 2, so there's so much football left still to play that we don't know what the outcome is going to be when the tests are going to happen for these players and these teams. Health-wise, obviously, we saw a major injury last night with Nick Chubb and that ankle break or that leg break.
Oh my God! His knee came dislocated from his body. That was
that was brutal.
An ugly injury. Nick Chubb, that was bad. Super bad.
That was so bad, bro. Obviously ESPN wasn't trying to show the highlights, but people in social media, they love posting it. Yep. It gave me like chills just watching it the first time, and I was like, I can't watch this. Like, prayers go up to him. I hope he heals up, but he's out indefinitely for the season. That was just a bad injury for the Browns too. But
I saw it like for real today. Like his knee, like. Because I watched the game and one of the announcers like, we're not going to replay it. I was okay, so I went to the internet and they showed it, but it's all like from the sky cam. So I'm like, okay, and there's Nick Chubb. Like, what the fuck happened? Today is when I saw the zoomed in angle and his knee like folded backwards and sideways. Like it was, oh God, it was bad.
Yeah, it was a gnarly injury to see. So prayers go up to him for that one. Is the games that I kind of wanted to touch base on. Obviously there was high scoring games this week, but it is football. So the Chiefs and Jaguars, though, the Chiefs won 17-9 on that. First of all, for the Chiefs to only score 17 points in a football game is very strange, especially against the Jaguars. I would expect a lot more from them. I know that like Kelsey, like he's back and stuff, but I'm not sure what's going on with the connection over there. But 17-9 against the Jags, I don't know how you feel about that, but I don't like the way that looked from the Super Bowl defending champs. You know?
Yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. From what I understand, is this game was supposed to be a great game on both sides of the ball, in the sense of you got Trevor Lawrence and all that stuff, and the Jags defense, like they're not the best defense in the league, but they have a good defense. And then you have the kind of beat up and slightly hungover Chiefs. They've won a couple Super Bowls. They're probably, I know they have the off season, but there's a lot of partying that goes on and stuff, So like I feel like they're kind of hungover a little bit. And yeah, for it to be 17-9 at the same time, it was a close game until the very end. It was yeah, it was a weird score to see, especially with the Chiefs and with Kelsey being back. A strange score. And so yeah, 17-9, it's weird.
Yeah. I mean, and like you said, it was supposed to be a kind of a banger of a game from both sides of the field, from Jacksonville, because Jacksonville was also, not taking anything away from Jacksonville, but they were supposed to put some points up for them too. And then seeing them kind of hold Kansas City to under 20 points is crazy, because Kansas City is known for scoring like 30 plus, every game. So holding them then to that.
They're going to score. Yeah, they're going to score.
Yeah, and then Pat Mahomes had 1 interception, 2 TDs, QB rating 98.1. He threw for 305, so I mean that's pretty high yard-wise, but for only 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, it's kind of crazy. But Travis Kelce did have a TD reception on that one. The Jags, Trevor Lawrence threw 216, and he had a QB rating of 68.8. No touchdowns, no interceptions. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, that game right there, it was kind of triggering my mind, because I was like, Kansas City should score 50 on Jags. Easily should score 50, in my opinion. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Yeah. On most opponents, really. The Chiefs should score that much. Maybe not 50, but and it is the NFL, so like maybe 30 on most opponents. So yeah, 17-9. Like I said, it's just a strange score, and yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, and then so on the opposite end though, bro. So a lot of people and a lot of speculation is happening with Tampa Bay with the Bucks. They're 2-0, right? But they started a trend of Baker Mayfield is the guy for them. Baker Mayfield has found his home. According to most analysts online are stating that Baker Mayfield is going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. He threw 317, 1 TD, 0 interceptions, QB rating of 115 or 114.5, which is pretty good to see from Baker Mayfield, because Baker Mayfield used to be a QB that not a lot of people took seriously, especially when he was with the Browns. So I don't know, seeing him do good is nice, but the Bucks are 2-0, and they are saying that they're going to take their division now. A lot of people are speculating that. They did play the Bears, so let's get that out the way. They played the Bears, so it's not crazy, It is the Bears, so
yeah, I was gonna say they played the Bears, so yeah.
Yeah. They took that win 27-17. Was there a game that you had in the back of your mind that you were really wanting to jump on, or not really? We could talk Cowboys and Jets. Man, I know a lot of people are waiting for that.
Which game was it? Yeah, let's talk about all the Cowboys field goals beating the Jets. Nothing but field goals.
Yeah.
The kicker won the fucking game.
I got a phone call. You got
all these high-paid players.
I got a phone call from a valid Cowboy fan. So to
Felix?
correct, from Felix, to correct the way I was saying Tony Pollard's name, I think he said it's Tony Pollard or whatever. He was like, get it right. I can't believe you picked the Jets over the Cowboys. And I was like, okay, you beat the Jets, bro. Like, let's take it down a notch. You beat the Jets. The Jets are without Aaron.
I was going to say, I guarantee you if Rodgers was there, because he's playing the Cowboys, the Jets would have won that fucking game.
Exactly.
Just because, by one point, just because Aaron Rodgers always beats the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, Felix is probably, I'm not going to go there, but Felix is probably very happy that Rodgers is not only injured, but he doesn't have to play him anymore, because now the Cowboys have a chance. Because the Cowboys see Rodgers, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's over. Exactly. So Dak Prescott threw 2 TDs, 0 interceptions, QB rating of 112. I think that's probably his best performance in the last 15 years that he's ever played the game of football. But yeah, so the Cowboys won. They're 2-0 now. They beat the Jets, obviously, and then you beat the Giants week 1. It's not a big victory. You just beat people that are, one, broken apart, and then two, it's the Giants, and you beat them.
No.
You obliterated them. I'm not taking that away from them. They did beat the shit out of the Giants, and then they put some points up, 30-10 against the Jets. But it is the Jets that you guys are playing now without, obviously, Aaron Rodgers, and now you have a Zach Wilson under center, and we'll see what they're going to do and who they're going to pick up. Other than that, but
if
I
anything,
didn't want
you got to
to
be worried about
that.
Zach Wilson banging your mom, because apparently he banged somebody's mom. I think it was college or something. So if you're a fan of the Jets, I mean, that's cool, but you got to worry about your quarterback, because he might be showing up at your front doorstep right here trying to bang. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. But the Cowboys are 2-0 now. The Cowboys
about that.
The Cowboys do go on, and they do play an 0-2 Cardinal team on Sunday, so they're going to be undefeated for 3 weeks. So we get to hear that shit for the next 3 weeks at least. But you guys, it's okay. So like we mentioned earlier, like Domo mentioned with the 49ers, they haven't been tested yet. They haven't, and neither have the Cowboys. Like the Cowboys haven't been tested yet. Their biggest test was gonna be the Jets because they had Aaron Rodgers, but now Aaron Rodgers isn't there. It was a cakewalk of a win. Now you're playing a Cardinals team who has nobody anymore, and like that should be an easy week 3 win. Should be, but with the game of football though, you never know. You can come in hot or you can come in cold, and then you shit the bed or you take the victory. I would expect the Cowboys to put 30 points on the board easily against the Cardinals.
And I agree. And I will say, like, to go along with what you're saying, everybody hates the Patriots when Tom Brady were there. Oh, as long as Tom Brady loses, I don't give a fuck. Whatever. Same to the Cowboys, especially here in Houston. It's just like, fuck the Cowboys. I don't give a fuck. Look, if you got a good team, for me personally, if you got a good team, you got a good team. For the Cowboys, they've had good teams, and I've respected it. I mean, they've had good teams. It's just they can never get it done. Like they had great teams under Tony Romo. That offensive line was unfucking believable. Still shit the bed. He iced his own kicker. Like it goes on and on. Like the Cowboys can be good, and they do have a decent team. They're decent. Dak Prescott's a liability, I feel like, and he got paid way too much money and hasn't done shit. I think I brought this up before, where he demanded this money, but he hasn't won shit. Not even, I think, one playoff game, I think. And then Rodgers chopped him down at the knees. But like at the same time, like if they're a good team, all this hate, I don't hate on them, but the problem is with the Cowboys, when they have good teams, they just don't fucking win. And same could go for the Packers, but at the same time, the Packers have won a Super Bowl in the last fucking 40 years. Okay, so come at me if you want to, but like I'm just saying,
exactly.
Like,
yeah,
the Cowboys haven't done a fucking thing since VHS tapes, and their fans are rabid, like rabid. You got good teams, you just don't do shit.
Well, the thing is, here's the thing, to bounce off of what you said, and we are not, by the way, we are not Cowboy haters when it comes to football, because if they're playing good, like Domo said, if they're
teams,
if they're playing good, they're playing good. We'll give them their respect. We'll give them their flowers, whatever the fuck you want to call it. We'll do that. But it's just now you're going to go into the week 3, and you're going to probably take that win. So you're going to be 3-0, and then we're going to, obviously from week 1, we heard this is our year. So again, we're going to go back into the same routine of this is our year from the Cowboy fan base. And when it comes to playoffs, you guys don't show up and your QB falls apart or some shit happens. So like Domo said, yes, you guys have had great teams. You guys have had massive weapons with Amari Cooper before, Tony Romo, Des Bryant, like obviously Jason Witten. Like you guys have had great teams on the defense and on the offense. So what's the missing key now? Like you have Dak Prescott under center. You have a great running back. You have great receivers with CeeDee Lamb. Like you guys should be able to make a deep playoff push.
Yeah,
but when it comes to actually being a decent team in the playoffs, it doesn't show up. So don't get your hopes up right now, because you're going to go 3-0 beating Arizona in Arizona, but you've beat the Giants, who struggle all the time, and then you beat the Jets, who are struggling without their massive signing of a QB in Aaron Rodgers. And like Domo said, if Aaron Rodgers is on that field, it'd be a different score at the end of the day. It'd be a way different score. It would not be 30-10 If it would be 30-10, that wouldn't surprise me if it was the Jets being 30-10. But we'll give you guys your flowers. You guys did take the win. Congrats.
I will say the Cowboys better be 3-0 after this next week. I will say that. They're looking good defensively, special teams. The second game, again, defense. I don't remember if special teams got a score or not. I don't think they did. But Dak had one touchdown. Other than that, it was all field goals. And you're playing the Giants next. So the Giants, they're coming off a big comeback win, but they lost Saquon Barkley. Where's that game at? Oh,
they're playing the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals. Okay, so then fucking nay. You better fucking win. If you come out of this week 2-1, you're fugazis, you're fake. Fuck off. I'm done listening to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you
better win this fucking week.
If for some reason the Cardinals come out and win this week, okay, first of all, yeah, like you guys need to shut the hell up because there's no way that they should come out victorious on Sunday. Yeah. Like that should be
they're not going to.
Yeah.
If they lose, they're just gonna be like, "This is our year. We them boys. Hold up."
Yeah. So I mean that's week 2 with the Cowboys.
I obviously, we're still talking about this.
I know. Week 2 with the Cowboys. Obviously week 3 should be a cakewalk of a win for you guys too. So congrats on going 3-0. Week 4 let's see, who do you guys play week 4? Week 4, the Cowboys play the Patriots, who are 0-2 right now. So again, that should be an easy win. And then week 5, you guys play San Fran. And like I said at the beginning, that should be the test for both teams, for both San Fran and Dallas. That should be a test. That should be their first initial test, is going to be that game there in week 5. So, but until then, you guys will probably be undefeated, and then we'll see what really happens at the end of it. But I don't know. I don't see them not winning. Like I see them winning this week against Arizona, even if it's at Arizona. Like that should be a Cowboys win easily.
I messed up. So who's the Giants playing this week?
The Giants are playing San Fran.
Giants. Oh, Jesus Christ.
And that's exactly another one that's not a test. Yeah, exactly. So again, since it's so early on, a lot of teams aren't being tested yet. A lot of high power teams aren't being tested yet. So it's not until the later weeks of football where it's like injuries start happening, people start not playing, and then you start seeing the actual test for these teams. I think that week 3 should be for the powerhouse teams, because I think right now the NFL power rankings have San Fran and Dallas. In different analysts are saying it 1 or 2. So those 2 are the top teams right now currently. And it's just going to depend. I think it's going to come down to week 5 to see who's actually going to be the powerhouse team. Until then, I don't see either team losing.
To argue with those 1 and 2 power rankings with San Fran and Dallas, I don't mind them being 1 and 2. The only thing I would say is like San Fran needs to be number 1 because, like I said, week 1 was all Dallas defense and special teams. The offense didn't do anything. They had no points.
Yeah.
So like, I don't mind it being 1 and 2, but definitely Dallas needs to take a back seat because week 1 they didn't do shit. Granted, win's a win, just like week 2 wins a win. But you got
I agree with you. I don't want to say it out loud because then people are gonna be like, oh, well, you're just a San Fran fan, so that's why you're saying. And it's like, well, shut up. Facts are facts. Like as simple as that. All right, so we are going to go into our top picks for this week. Chris not being here tonight recording, he does have his picks selected for this week. He went with the Bucks versus the Eagles. He's got the Bucks winning. He went Saints versus Packers. He's got the Saints winning. And he went Cowboys versus Cardinals with the Cowboys winning. Domo, what are your picks for this coming week for week 3 of the NFL?
So I have Niners versus Giants, and I took the Niners. I have Cowboys versus the Cardinals. I took the Cowboys, and the Chiefs are playing the Bears, who have been terrible thus far. I'm taking the Chiefs, and I'm picking those 3 because they're playing scrub teams. And I went 0-3 this past week, so I need a 3-0 to redeem myself.
Yeah, you need a redemption week for sure. You need to put some points on the board. That's a pretty safe. Those are pretty safe picks, really, bro. Like the way you pick them, those are pretty safe. You should go 3-0.
I feel like because the teams they're playing, granted, Giants are 1-1. Cards, I think they're 1-1. I can't remember, and definitely the Bears are 0-2. But I feel like one of those teams is going to pull.
Well, the Cards are 0-2, so
They
playing
are
two.
okay.
Yeah,
I thought they won their first one, but I couldn't remember.
yeah, they're playing a
So
2-0 Cowboys team, so they should definitely take the L, and you should definitely take the win.
Yes, it's the Cowboys, and the Chiefs haven't looked spectacular. They're getting it done, but they haven't looked spectacular. And the Niners, you just never know. You know what I mean? Like it's just like they're a stacked team, but you just don't know what's going to happen. So
yeah, you don't know. And
I'm
then
doing safe
like
bets, and
Carlos,
hopefully it works out.
yeah, like Carlos always says, it's any given Sunday, so anything can really happen in football. But I feel like those bets are pretty safe with the way everything's kind of been going lately.
Should be good.
It should be good. You should go 3-0, but you can't put all your money on it because shit, you never know. I'm gonna go with for this week. I'm gonna go Giants versus Niners. I'm gonna go with the 49ers. I am gonna do the Saints and Packers game, but I'm gonna go with Green Bay taking the win, playing in Lambeau. Jordan Love is gonna get his rhythm going. He's gonna play in front of his home crowd. It's gonna be, I think, a 49ers, a Green Bay Packer victory, and they're gonna be 2-1 going into it. I mean, after that, and then the Saints will take their first loss of the season. And then my last one is going to be the Rams versus the Bengals. They are going to Cincinnati, but I think that this is the game where Cincinnati takes that first win because they are 0-2 right now. So I'm putting my money on the Bengals. Now, we say this every time. Every bet that we place, do not bet that way because it does not work out most of the time.
Yeah.
But I think those are my solid picks for this week, for week 3. Chris obviously took the win last week. So I'm hoping that we can kind of kick him off his pedestal, and then we'll recap on that for this week. I mean, there's a lot of games, like Domo said, there's a lot of power teams playing scrub teams where you should see like a big win margin. Also, though, like the Chargers 0-2 playing the 0-2 Vikings. So that's going to be a shit game.
Between two losers, one of them got to be a winner, right? I mean,
watch them end in
I
a
guess
draw.
No. I was going to say in the NFL you can still tie, so I guess not. I take that back.
Yeah, so
that's
they
terrible.
can still tie. So that's horrible that is a possibility. But I think that for week 3, that's going to be some solid games. Obviously, it starts tomorrow with the Giants and 49ers. It starts on Thursday with the Giants and 49ers. And then, so now we're going to go into our top 3 of this week, not football top 3, but just our top 3. Our top 3 category for this week is actually stadiums, baseball, NFL, NHL, NBA, wherever you'd want to go watch a top-notch game 7, let's say playoff game, or a win or go home type playoff game where the environment is lit, and then obviously the crowd is all into it. So that's going to be our top 3 for this week. Domo, do you have yours selected already for that, or do you not? Okay. Yeah, if you want to go with yours.
Okay. And I don't have any order. None of it's like the top one, like 1, 2, 3. It's just kind of, the way I have it listed, I'll just read it off, but that doesn't mean it's like number 1 or number 3.
Yeah. I gotcha.
So the first one I have written down is NFL. Obviously I'm a Packer fan. I've never been to Lambeau Field. That I feel like even in regular season games, they're always hyped up. I feel like, just like Seattle and all them Chiefs, that they're always hyped up. But Lambeau's got the history. They got the legends that have. The Hall of Famers, count them. You know what I mean? So I think that would be really cool, especially if we're talking about playoff games. That would be like, it's got to be legit, right? It's cold as shit. Like it's, you know what I mean? And then in the NHL, I was going to go one of the original teams, the New York Rangers. I think that'd be really cool to go see a game there. And like you said, we're talking about playoff games, but to go to New York City, the bright lights, all that stuff, it's already popping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if any of their teams are in a playoff or in the Super Bowl or Stanley Cup, whatever, it's the city's like up a notch in a sense. And then my last one was in Major League Baseball. I'm torn between, just because the history between the two, and either Dodgers or Yankees. I'm like torn. I'd love to go to each of them for a playoff game. I just don't know like which one I would pick. So I put Dodgers and Yankees as one because I would feel like they're. You've been to Dodger games and stuff like that. I've never been over there. I've never been to a Yankee game either. But I feel like either one of those, especially playoff time, has got to be.
Yeah, that's got to be. Those got to be packed houses, regardless, because of the fan base and stuff. That's good to go with either one, because either one would probably be a great time, regardless. Like you said, with New York and all that, and then obviously the LA Dodgers team and fan base is kind of crazy sometimes too.
Yeah.
I like those picks. Those are pretty safe. I'm gonna go with pretty similar, but I'm gonna go with Lambeau. And this is in no particular order, but I do want to go to Lambeau, like Domo said, even for a regular season game. But I can imagine a playoff game, especially in like the Aaron Rodgers era, Devontae Adams era, must have been a badass
if
experience.
You can even if you can get a ticket. I mean, you may not be able to get a ticket.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like going to Lambeau during playoff season when it's cold as shit, it's snowing, you got to shovel the snow out of your own seat. Like that's got to be such an experience, iconic experience in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with Lambeau there, and then I am gonna go with Boston for the Red Sox. I feel like going to see a Red Sox playoff game after all their struggles and every year after they won the World Series must be a fun experience because Boston fans are so passionate about their teams. So I feel like Red Sox, their fan base is crazy out the window. So I would go to Boston to see a live playoff game, and I'm talking like Game 7, all on the line type playoff game. That's what
Another good thing about going to Boston, especially like a Game 7 like you're talking about, you would have to fist fight your way in and fist fight your way out, whether you won or lost. So
yeah, for sure.
It'll be a full on experience, almost like a Philadelphia experience.
Yeah. Oh, so there's my number one. I was actually going to go with Philly. Because like Dodger games, I've been to Dodger games. I haven't been to a Dodger playoff game though, but I need to. But I've been to Dodger games, and yes, the environment's crazy. I know Yankee Stadium gets crazy, but Philly, their fan bases are wild. So I feel like if you go see the Philadelphia Eagles or you go see the Phillies, or the Flyers, like it's got to be such a crazy ass experience in Philadelphia to be in the city.
You're probably looking over your shoulder the whole time, getting ready to get cold cocked.
Exactly. Yeah, so I feel like
I'm not going. If you want to go there, I'm not going. Like I'm not going to go. Dude. Yeah, like I just said, you got to fight your way in and fight your way out because they don't give a fuck.
You know what's crazy?
Win or lose, they don't give a fuck.
What's crazy though is that they're called the city of brotherly love, and I just feel like every time they've been in the playoffs, shit has popped off over there.
They boo Santa. They throw snowballs at Santa. They won the Super Bowl, and the police and everybody had to grease up the light poles. They were still trying to burn the city down after winning the Super Bowl. Like it's just It's bad. Yeah. It's bad. I'm not going.
I feel like honorable mention though, again, a Boston, but like a Boston Bruins or a Penguins game, like in the NHL wise, when it comes to like playoffs, like those two teams for me, I feel like that's got to be fun to watch. And even as a Blues fan, like just going to see that, I feel like the history is there.
Of course, teams, absolutely. My grandpa, real quick side note, my grandpa, this was years ago. He was telling me, before he retired and stuff like that, he got to go to a playoff game. If I remember correctly, it was in Montreal, the Bell Center. I can't remember if that's Montreal or Toronto, but it was two Canadian teams playing against each other. He said everything was in French, but the building was lit. Like
really,
talking about hockey, going up to Canada, it's like a religion up there. So yeah, he had told me that a while back that he was able to go. The company got him tickets or whatever, and he was able to go. And he said everything was in French, but he couldn't believe like how crazy everybody was. Both fans of each team were there, but he said it was just absolutely nuts, and everything was in French, but it was still amazing, is what he said. So
it is in Montreal. Just so you know, it's in Montreal. I know you said it was either Center? One. Yeah, and it's weird.
What's Toronto?
It's called and I don't know if it's because they speak the French or whatever, but it's called Centre Bell. But it's not spelled like center, like we spell it.
Yeah.
You know,
correct.
Like how
Bell
how
Center is what they say on TV. But
yeah. So let me look.
What's Toronto's?
Eaton Center, I think. Eaton Center, Toronto. Let's see, Toronto Maple Leafs Stadium, and then we'll wrap it up. Maple Leafs, because it said right here, arena. There it is. So, Scotia Bank Arena.
Scotia.
Scotia
Bank. Okay,
they speak some weird shit over there, but Scotia Bank Arena. It's what it's called. But I feel like another side note. Hockey, when it comes to hockey, like a playoff game in Canada, that must be lit, bro. Especially if it's two Canadian teams playing, like you were saying, like your grandpa.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's so
as of recent, like the most recent years, they've had a little bit of playoff between the two teams, like Edmonton Oilers versus Calgary Flames. That's Battle of Alberta. They're the same region in Canada, so that's always a thing. But like as playoff wise, it really hasn't. It's mainly been like an American team versus a Canadian team. They go back and forth. But when my grandfather went, I want to say it was in the 80s. It was right before I was born, or just after I was born.
Yeah.
And I remember him telling me on the front porch, like he just couldn't believe it. Everything was in French. He couldn't understand shit, but he was just like, it was unbelievable. Like the fan base and like how the game was going,
the environment,
you feel it. You feel it. Yeah, you just feel it in the air. Like he couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah, I think that any game, playoff game, especially if it's your home city or where you live, like you're gonna be excited to go. But there's obviously those iconic cities where it's like you got to hit those up for playoff games. And then obviously you have your story with the Blues when you went to watch them when you were in St. Louis in the playoff game against the Chicago Blackhawks, and obviously that was a hell of an experience. So any playoff game to watch definitely is an experience to watch. But if it's like a big city name or a big city team, like a team that's got the passion in the fans, it's going to be an entertaining time. So yeah, that wraps up our episode for this week. This week was just Domo and I. Sorry for the little bit of the delay on a portion of the episode, which is where we kind of re-edit it and re-upload it because we do want to give the best quality content out there that we can. So this episode will drop Friday morning. You guys will see this and hear this after the Thursday night game, which kicks off with the Giants and the 49ers in Levi's Stadium. Obviously, the 49ers are looking to go undefeated. Other than that, brother, it's been a great episode. Thanks for joining us. Hit us up on TikTok, Instagram. We're putting reels up every week before the episode drops, so you guys can look forward to those. Like them, share them with a friend. Ask people if they want to listen to it. If they don't want to listen to it, tell us why, and then we'll update and fix our situations. Other than that, brother, it's been a great week. Looking forward to week 3 of the NFL. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Chris will be back and Carlos will be back soon enough. It's been fun, brother. We'll play the song and we'll be out of here.